The number of Hantavirus cases tied to the MV Hondius cruise ship is now 11. That is according to the World Health Organization's Director General. He says 9 of the cases are confirmed and 2 are probable, with all people impacted under medical supervision. International health officials say there's no sign of a larger Hantavirus outbreak right now, but experts warn that number could go up because of the virus' 42-day incubation period.
This story has been developing for over a month now, and concern has certainly been growing along with it. Here to talk to us more in depth about the virus itself is 9 News medical expert Dr. Payal Kohli.
Dr. Kohli, thanks for being here. First and foremost, what can you tell us about the Hantavirus? And does it surprise you? Because from what I read, it's supposed to be spread from rodent to rodent, but this is human to human.
Yeah, so usually it's rodent to human. Hantavirus has been around for decades. In fact, Colorado is one of the first states in 1993 at the Four Corners that described the Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, where it gets into your lungs. So we've had it around for a long time, ladies, but what's surprising about this particular strain and what's concerning is, just like you said, Sam, the human-to-human transmission. That only occurs in the Andes virus strain of Hantavirus, which is only found in South America. Now, unfortunately, this Dutch couple went off the ship. Their patient 0 potentially got it from a landfill where they were bird watching. There may have been rodents around, brought it onto the ship, and now it's spreading human to human. And now, of course, some of those Americans with the Hantavirus tested positive have already come here to the United States. So it's here, but not here in Colorado, thankfully, the human-to-human strain, the Andes virus.
Thank goodness, because you see a lot of people, and I think, understandably so. We've been through a global pandemic, so a lot of people are like, oh no, this is going to be COVID part 2. Yeah. I mean, it's terrifying. But let's talk facts, right? Yeah. This has not arrived in Colorado or anywhere near us.
The Hantavirus Andes strain is not in Colorado. That is the human-to-human transmission. The Hantavirus sin nombre virus strain, which is the rodent-to-human, has been in Colorado for decades. And so if you're cleaning out a cabin in the mountains that has rodent droppings, you could get that because we have a lot of deer mice here, and deer mice are infected with that strain, the rodent-to-human strain. But we don't need to worry right now that you're going to walk past somebody at the grocery store and catch Hantavirus from them. And I really want us Coloradans to turn down the level of anxiety because, as you said, Alex, after that pandemic, it's stressful to see this again.
So for the people that are concerned, I guess if they're in an area where they've heard that there may be a case, and thank you for kind of just calming, a lot of people's fears right now. But how does it spread from human to human? And I know that I read that 40% mortality rate. Can you give us a little bit more information about infection, symptoms, all of the above?
So we think this is the same Andes virus strain we've dealt with in the past. We've had outbreaks before. So based on that, assuming it's not changed too much, we think it's close contact, usually 15 minutes, less than 2 meters. Now, having said that, in earlier outbreaks we've seen, there was a person who was infected with Hantavirus, Andes virus strain, went to a birthday party and infected 5 other people, one that he just walked past. So it's the same sort of pattern as we saw with COVID, where we have some people who are these super spreaders who shed like crazy and infect a lot. Now, you're most infectious when you're symptomatic, but you can be infectious even before you become symptomatic. But thankfully, unlike the COVID virus, which used to spread very efficiently when you're asymptomatic, this spreads most efficiently when you're symptomatic. But usually it's close contact. So on the cruise ship, for example, sharing dining utensils, sharing living quarters, like bedrooms, that's going to spread it. Sexual contacts for sure. But we're concerned that it may even come from casual contact based on what we've seen in prior outbreaks.
So what are the symptoms? Is it like a cold? Is it kind of like,
So it starts like a cold, then it turns into a flu-like illness, so muscle aches, fevers, fatigue, and within hours to days, if it gets into your lungs, which this Andes virus can do, it can cause the pulmonary syndrome, which has that 35 to 40% mortality or risk of dying. Now, there's another type of Hantavirus that lives in Europe that doesn't get into your lungs but causes bleeding and causes liver failure. We haven't seen that in this particular strain of virus, but we're worried about this because we don't have treatments, we don't have vaccines. And so really the best key is to make sure we contain the outbreak as best as we can.
So if you were Attorney General, Dr. Kohli, what would you do? What would you advise us to do right now?
So as the Surgeon General,
sorry about that.
The way to kill this outbreak, we will kill it, we will burn it out if we get every person on that ship to quarantine for 42 days, the entire incubation period. Because if that 42 days goes, they haven't declared themselves, they're not positive. And you could do a PCR test just to confirm. But the idea that we're letting people get back to their lives and monitoring them concerns me, because then you don't know who you met 42 days ago. And if they were asymptomatic and shedding and they infected somebody at the grocery store in the Uber, it's going to make it more difficult. Now, in general, hantavirus is not one that spreads efficiently. So past outbreaks have burned themselves out. And that's why overall we're less concerned. But again, it's something we have to watch closely because it may be a different version of the virus.
We are out of time, but why 42 days? That seems like a long period of time to have to be isolated.
So the incubation period from the time you're exposed to the time that you are showing symptoms and infectious, 4 days to 42 days. So that's the longest that you could potentially have been exposed and still not have symptoms. After that, you're probably not going to have symptoms if you haven't been exposed.
All right, Dr. Coley, great information. Thank you.